We're here with Greg Jones. He's a Tehama County Supervisor, but I think more importantly than that, he is a grower. You grow walnuts, is that right?
It is correct. We have a few prunes, but we're mostly walnuts.
So you have a unique perspective here. Can you just talk about what growers are facing right now in the ag labor market?
I think there are a lot of trends in the marketplace that are pushing us toward an equilibrium where scale and size are the only people that can survive. Today I talked about momentum toward replacing labor with capital. I talked a little bit about why this trend is historical, but there are other reasons too. In 1975, our Secretary of Agriculture, Lutz, said go big or go home. And coupled with Nixon and Ford, they liberalized the the Eastern Bloc for growers in the Midwest to sell grain. The problem is in 1980, the Soviet Union was invaded Afghanistan, and that access to those markets disappeared overnight. Well, land values appreciated, rents grew on those lands, and then overnight the scale of production in the Midwest went away. And in return, you had high interest rates, lowering revenues, etc. And while history doesn't repeat itself, it does rhyme. And today, when you see that farmers were growing based on access to international markets, and now with the tariff regime, you're seeing the same thing. Land values appreciated, rents have fallen, the debt-to-equity ratios have tightened, and interest rates have gone up. I think that, in addition to labor markets and a whole array of issues, are making it very difficult for smaller-scaled farmers to survive and thrive. And I think it's an anxiety that we all feel.
Can you just go a little bit deeper into those trends and policies? Just talk about that and how that is affecting the market right now.
Sure. I think today I focused on the labor aspect of it, even though it's much more comprehensive of that. But labor is expensive in California. I think sometimes we say that there's a shortage of labor, and you hear it from the former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, and you hear it from Republican circles too, is that we need more labor. But I think that's a misdiagnosis of the marketplace. We have a shortage of people that want to do the work at the wages we pay. And it's one of the accelerants toward highly capital-intensive production, which is why, by the way, in California, we've moved away from kiwis and peaches and prunes and stone fruits, and we've moved more toward rice and tree nuts and things that can be mechanized. But that just accelerates the non-labor aspect of food production. So if we look at AB 1066 and other elements that make our labor cost more high, I think all it does is accelerate a trend that naturally occurs within the marketplace. It's not the primary reason that labor costs are so high.
Can you just talk a little bit about how growers might be able to adapt to some of these changes?
I don't think there's a good answer. You can do accelerated depreciation so that the capital investments we make in automated tools we can immediately write off, but the problem with that is small and medium farms have smaller margins, and we don't need write-offs when we're not making money, so the depreciation doesn't help us. You could do collective purchasing, something like the Carl Moyer, where we give state and federal grants to buy the types of things needed to lower the marginal cost of production in almonds and walnuts. That has problems too. You could do collective utilization of them. That's difficult too. If you're a walnut farmer, you know that when the rain comes, you want to go right now. And if I'm having to share the types of equipment that make me competitive, there's issues there too. So that probably wasn't the answer you were looking for.
I think you summed it up a little bit. Like you said, you don't have all the answers right now, and I don't think any of us will anytime soon, if ever. But just if there are just some ways for growers to adapt, I think that's what they want to hear.
I think in the short term, and our Walnut Board president said it would be wonderful to have access to the markets that have gone away in the past 6 or 7 years. We grew the supply, and yes, we've probably overplanted, but it was with the expectation that we'd have an in-shell market in Europe, that we could liberalize parts of Asia to sell them. I remember conversations that we couldn't grow enough walnuts to satisfy demand if we had access to those markets. And when they went away, it threw a major wrench in the prospect of the future. And if we could get a little bit of relief there, maybe that could mitigate some of the pressures towards scale from capital.